It's time to dive back into the water. We're looking at another shark movie today, and will this one be as bad as the previous shark movie, Cocaine Shark? Let's find out. Welcome back to Wrestling with Horror. My name is Andrew Dreamer. As always, I'm here to talk about professional wrestling, horror movies, and look at the ways that they intersect, connect, and everything in between. As I said, we're looking at another cheesy shark movie today. This one, I gotta say, it was a step up. Maybe not a drastic step up, but it was a step up nonetheless, and I will take that. I actually had a little bit of fun with this one. You just gotta turn your mind off and kind of let things happen and just watch the movie. That being said, let's take a look at Sharkenstein. Our film this time opens up with some words on the screen telling us the story of Frankenstein's monster. And that theme, as you can tell from the title, is going to be prevalent through the entire film. So this time I'm going to split this review up into 3 separate parts. I'm going to go through the plot a little bit, then I'm going to talk about some positives, and then I'm going to talk about some negatives. Then we're going to get to our rating at the end of the video. Let's jump right into the plot. The first footage that we see is these scientists doing some experiments during World War II. This part of the film is in black and white to convey that time period shift because, of course, in 1945, everything was black and white. So these scientists are experimenting on different things. They're running these experiments and they get stopped by these Nazis. It is what it is. So the Nazis come in and they decide to stop these experiments because Hitler didn't know that they were happening. And from there we move into our modern day times, and you get these 3 friends who are going on a vacation when really their vacation is just an 8-hour boat trip around the ocean, which, by the way, looked like it was pretty much filmed on a lake the entire time. We had some aerial shots of ocean and just kind of some stock photos of ocean and footage and things like that, but the majority of this film was absolutely filmed on a lake, and you can't convince me otherwise. But that's probably due to budget reasons, and not really going to knock it for that because you got to do what you got to do to get your movie made. Aside from these 3 characters, we have a harbor master. His name is Duke, and he is investigating all these disappearances and dead bodies that have been appearing in the cove where they're at, and it looks pretty clearly to be shark attacks. Everybody's telling him it's bite marks, and the whole time he's just kind of going, why is everybody so quick to blame sharks? But I'm sure you can guess that it actually is sharks. Now, our 3 other characters, the friends, they're all kind of middle-aged people. One of them is a little younger, but for the most part they're middle-aged, and they're trying to dress like they're 20. They ain't 20. You have one dude that looks like he's about 45. He's got his hat sideways the whole time, and he's got this goofy smile on his face the entire time. One of them is a 35-year-old dude that is just obsessed with his cell phone. He is tech savvy, and he's just, I can find anything on the net kind of guy. And then you have the girl who's traveling with them, who is kind of trepidatious throughout the entire thing. She's kind of I guess you could call her a film buff, but she also kind of just worries about everything, and it kind of gets annoying to a point, but they know what they're doing, and you can kind of get past it with this film. When they finally get to their destination, they meet their boat captain, who is a man named Hoskins, and he actually does not speak. He has no lines in this movie. I guess it's understood that his character just doesn't talk, and so he takes them out on the ocean. I almost said lake, but he takes them out on the ocean, and they're having a good time. They're swimming a little bit. They're eating their lunch when the harbor master comes up and says, you all need to go back to shore. The waters aren't really safe. I can't tell you what's going on, but for your own safety, get back to shore. So they finish eating, and they start to leave to go back to shore, but the boat won't start, and Hoskins kind of gestures that something's wrong with the propeller. He stays to fix it while the other 3 decide to swim to this island. So they get to the island, and they find this CGI house that is clearly next to a real building wherever they're at. And they go inside, and they find this old room and they see all this stuff, and then they hear something under them. So they go downstairs and investigate, and then that's when they see the shark. This creature kind of like is stored in this building. That's when they also meet the mad scientist who has resurrected this shark. His name is Klaus, and he wears a really bad German accent. He's not actually German. He kind of loses his accent in between lines. But again, not really going to knock it for that. Not too much anyway. He essentially tells them that he has the brain and the heart of Frankenstein's monster. And yes, I mean the actual Frankenstein's monster, who apparently in this world was a real creature. And he also says that he has the brains and the hearts of other high-ranking officials and people of prominent power from World War II. I think you know what I mean when I say that. And he basically forces them to help him with the shark. He wants to put the brain and the heart inside the shark. So he makes them help, and they put the brain and the shark in there. And of course, he puts, lightning to the shark and resurrects it again. He does the it's alive thing. And then he goes on and he locks the three friends up in a room. And then he starts commanding the shark to obey and to carry out the plan of the great experiment, is what he calls it. Of course, the monster doesn't want to obey because it's Frankenstein's monster. Why would it obey? And that's when the monster breaks loose. The monster kills Klaus because he gets tired of being yelled at and ordered around, I guess. And from there, that shark escapes. It starts knocking down the house. The friends fall in the water. The middle-aged guy with the sideways hat, he gets eaten. And the other two swim away, and that's when the harbor master finds them. He picks them up, and they think that they're going to get away. They get to land. They get on the dock. And for whatever reason, the shark just jumps up on the dock and it's laying there. There's a storm going on. The storm, electrocutes the shark. And what happens? The shark turns into a man-shark hybrid that walks and has, muscle-bound arms. And it just goes off and does its thing. From there, the guy says that he wants to just leave. Duke and the girl say that they want to go after the shark and stop it. Because, of course, that the Frankenstein's monster is afraid of fire. So they use fire to kind of fend it off for a moment. But then the girl, Madge, goes off with Duke. And the other guy, Coop, kind of goes off on his own. He's walking through the woods and he gets killed. And that leaves Duke and Madge going after them. Then the monster goes and kills a couple cattle, and this farmer comes out and says, "You put my cows down now!" And so she forms an angry mob to go after the monster. It's playing out just like Frankenstein. And then there's this little scene where Duke and Madge are talking about all the Universal monster movies and the Hammer films, and it's just, this movie really wants you to know that it is playing on Frankenstein. From here, we go to a lighthouse that is on the north side of the cove. Duke and Madge go in and they wire the place to blow. They set up all this dynamite. Duke lures the monster inside, and then the angry mob shows up. They set the lighthouse on fire. It goes to the very top, and that's when it blows up, killing Duke and supposedly killing the monster. Madge is sad that her new friend is dead, so she walks to the end of a dock. She sits in this lawn chair, and she's just feeling sorry for herself when we get the jump scare of the creature jumping out of the water, and that's where our movie ends. So that is the plot of Sharkenstein. Not a great movie, but like I said, big step up. So let's kind of get into some of the positives about this movie. First and foremost, unlike Cocaine Shark, this film knows exactly what it is. It doesn't try to be too serious. It doesn't take itself too serious, and you can tell the people who made this movie were just kind of having fun with this parody of sorts. I think it kind of works for me. And I'll be honest with you, the creature design, the design of the shark, the Sharkenstein itself, not bad. I kind of like what they did with it, taking parts of different sharks and kind of stitching them together, mostly in CGI, but nonetheless, the design I actually liked. Some of the characters were pretty decent. I like the character of Duke. He actually was a believable character for the most part. The three friends, maybe not so much, but Duke was a pretty good character. The boat driver, even though he didn't speak and did not have a line in this film, I actually thought that his character served his purpose really well, and he did what he was supposed to do. Aside from all that, like I said, I kind of had fun with this one. I just turned my brain off and watched the movie. I was able to, chuckle a few times, get a couple laughs out of it, because that's what the movie wants you to do. It doesn't want you to think of it as a straightforward horror movie or anything like that. So if you're into the kind of cheesy monster shark movie type thing and you don't want something that's just really serious, maybe check this one out. Not great, like I said, but not bad. All right, switching over to the negative side of this film, because there's still a lot of negatives about this film. First and foremost, acting, not good. Nobody in this movie was really believable with the way that they delivered their lines. I think Duke was probably the best one, and even he wasn't great. And again, there's a lot of really, really bad CGI where they just kind of superimposed the shark fin over the water that you could clearly tell wasn't actually in the water. It didn't look like it was moving through water, just like it was floating above the water in a composite image. Same thing with all the shark attacks. They were all off screen. There was not really any real blood. There was a little bit, but nothing major. And again, it's probably due to budget, but that's beside the point. When you finally get to see the transformation of the creature, which I thought was probably the dumbest part of the movie, just the transformation itself, I think you could have done something where the shark stayed in the water and still kind of played out the Frankenstein thing. But I digress. So that was kind of like the biggest negative for me, was that like third act. I literally kind of just laughed and said, what am I watching? And this movie kind of did use like almost kind of a claymation looking creature design for a while after the transformation. I'm not a big fan of that kind of stuff, so that's a negative for me as well. But to be perfectly honest, that's really all the negative I have to say about this movie. It was really cheesy. It was dumb. But it was kind of that kind of fun dumb. Now, I think that it can be better. I think there were things that could have been improved. But for a movie that you want to just sit down, turn your brain off, kind of laugh at a little bit, but have fun with, this was a pretty decent movie. Now, as far as my rating for this film, it's definitely not going to be as high as Cocaine Shark, but this one's probably going to be, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Not good, but definitely could have been worse. So that's my rating for this film. Check it out if you want to just have some dumb fun and kind of laugh at it a little bit. Don't take it too serious, but it's worth checking out if you're into that kind of thing. And the Frankenstein aspect of it, not bad. Pretty much all I have to say about that. But we're going to continue on just a few days from now with another shark movie. Haven't decided which one I'm going to cover next because there are a lot to choose from. I didn't realize just how deep of a hole I was digging myself by trying to choose all of these dumb shark movies, but it's a pretty deep hole. So I kind of got to find some solid ground here and pick another movie to cover in a couple days, but you're going to get that very soon. Until next time, my name is Andrew Dreamer, and this is Wrestling with Horror.